The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a gold dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
Welcome, folks. This is your host, James Kelso, with the American Freedom Party Report. Thank you for joining us in this live program. Again, we bring you a very important guest tonight. My guest will be Dr. Tomislav Sunic. And I'll introduce him in just a moment and let him tell you more about himself. I'd like to say this in general about the guests on the American Freedom Party Report. The men that you've heard so far, Don Wassel, Dr. Adrian Krieg, and Dr. Kevin McDonald, are very important minds in our cause. And the man you're about to hear tonight, Dr. Tomislav Sunic, I'll call you Tom. Is that okay, Tom?
Yes, go ahead. Tom is far better, thanks.
These are folks who have written some of the most important books in the cause of our people. They have long experience in our cause. They've been in in all of the different organizations, the different political efforts, the websites, the informational efforts, the educational efforts. These are extraordinary people, and we have much to learn from them. We can learn what we've been doing that's right, and we can also learn that we've been making some mistakes. And it must be, and I know you would agree with me on this, Tom, for our cause, which is so just and so extraordinary, to have made as little headway as we have, has to mean that we've made some mistakes, and that we need to look in the mirror and find out what those mistakes are, fix them, so that our movement can surge forward as it properly should have been for the last half century. So that's one of the things we'll go into tonight. Let me tell you just a little bit about Dr. Tom Sunic. Dr. Sunic is a member of the board of directors of the American Freedom Party, and he is an American citizen as well as a Croatian citizen. He has written extensively in our cause. He is an academic. And you got your doctorate in America, didn't you, Tom?
Yes, Jamie.
And
I got my PhD in the University of California in '88.
And so Tom knows, and I've had the very great privilege of touring around America with Tom and seeing the extraordinary things he does. One of those is he is one of the most active speakers in our cause that we have. He has gone everywhere. At the drop of a hat, he is ready to go and speak at an event. He frequently does these travels on his own funds. So he has really put himself out. I've never asked you about this, Tom, but you have probably darn near bankrupted yourself numerous times to make some of these extraordinary trips that you've taken.
Yeah, in a sense, that's true, Jamie, indeed. And I live very modestly, and I guess I probably make some money out of selling those books, but by and large, I do that on my own. In fact, I come.
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. Get ready to meet Dr. Tom Sunic. Come on back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Don't answer it! How can I stop these annoying collection calls?
Imagine being free from your debt without settling and with no payment plan, no negotiating or filing bankruptcy, and no attorneys. What if you could eliminate the risk from all your unsecured debt in about 90 days and keep all your money? You can. It's called Zero Debt Guarantee, and it works. There's no other program of its kind on the planet, and we guarantee the results in writing. Call now, 800-477-9256. Let our team of experts provide you with the resources to fight back, stop collection calls, and prevent and stop wage garnishments and bank levies. If you're facing foreclosure, we can help. Don't go it alone. Get free information now by calling 800-477-9256. Talk to an expert who has also completed our program. Call 800-477-9256 for free info or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com. That's 800-477-9256 or go to ZeroDebtGuarantee.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Welcome back to the show, folks. This is your host, James Kelso, on the American Freedom Party Report. And once again, we bring you an extraordinary guest. I mentioned three of our previous guests, Don Wassel, the Executive Director of the American Freedom Party, Dr. Adrian Krieg on the board, Dr. Kevin McDonald on the board. I've neglected to mention our 2012 presidential candidate, Merlin Miller, who was on this microphone. And I'd love to have you folks go back and listen in the republicbroadcastingnetwork.org archives to those four previous shows. This is our fifth show with Dr. Tom Sunic. And Dr. Sunic, we were talking about your studies in America and your PhD and your writings in the area of history and political science. And something extraordinary about what you've done, Tom, that I think is you've done this better than anybody on our board of directors and anybody that I know. You have bridged between America and Europe and between the patriot nationalist scene in Europe and America better and more extensively than anyone I know. And I'd like in our short time together tonight, if you would tell the folks, share some of your wisdom and your insights as to what you've seen. There are nationalist parties like the American Freedom Party in pretty much every European country. Could you tell us how are the Europeans doing better or worse? Are they ahead or behind us in their political organizing?
Jamie, it's a very tough question, I must admit, and of course there are pros and cons on both sides of the Atlantic. In terms of, let us say, organization, in terms of, let's say, a political party structures. European nationalists are probably somewhat better because, of course, there is a large history of nationalism very well established in most of the countries here on the continent. But then again, we have this big problem, and this is namely this petty nationalism, which I radically reject, so to speak. And I guess this petty nationalism in Europe usually manifests itself on the exclusion of the other, of the neighboring nationalism. And this, unfortunately, has been a major hurdle in constructing and setting up a major pan-European nationalism, if I can put it that way. So then again, I think that the American nationalism, generally speaking, is far better positioned. In fact, a white person living in Oklahoma or a white person living in Seattle, for instance, at least they have something in common. They're aware of their background, they're aware of their cultural background, their racial background as well, and they're not tempted, negatively tempted to pit against each other, to struggle about something that's completely irrelevant for the wider American cause. So again, it seems to me, this is just like a wild guess, it seems to me that America has much more of a future, if I can say, in developing white nationalism than Europeans. I'm a little bit pessimistic, judging from what I've seen here in Europe, be they French, or be they the Walloon or the Flemish nationalists, or be they German nationalists. Well, like for instance, here is the example. You have German nationalists or the Polish nationalists who frequently formulate Polish nationalism on the rejection of the either real or putative German nationalism. And again, I must admit, this has been going on for quite some time. And unlike many of my colleagues here in Europe, I don't see any end in it. And I'm trying to be with you as frank as possible.
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. And, I don't think anything you say in this regard is a wild guess. You are one of the best informed people. I rely on you for learning what the European scene is. And the folks, you may not know this, it's hard to get Tom to brag about himself. He's such a modest man. But his writings are extraordinary. He speaks such perfect German and such perfect French that I've been told by Germans and Frenchmen that it's really hard to tell whether he or not he's a native German or a native Frenchman. His command of these European languages is so great, and this makes him just among the reasons that he's such a desirable speaker. Nationalist movements around Europe request Tom's presence, and he does in fact speak all over Europe. He represents the American Freedom Party so well. He is our foreign secretary and our representative in Europe. And you are invaluable in that regard, Tom. I know one of the things you've told me about America that's something of great hope for us. We are the largest single mass of homogeneous white people in the world, are we not?
Yeah, well, that's precisely, we're talking about 200 million people of European extraction in the United States of America who, unlike my European colleagues here, are not being plagued by, again, petty nationalism. And I don't mean it pejoratively. I'm just saying the obvious thing, which is here, which is observable or testable on the daily basis. And I guess the white Americans, 200 million of them, of course, they are what our friend Kevin McDonald calls their explicit and less explicit white nationalism. But by and large, if push comes to shove, and when push comes to shove, and unfortunately I must admit we are facing very bad time now in all over the world, all over the white world, it seems to me that white Americans are far better positioned for upholding and maintaining their identity than overall white identity than European whites. So again, I must say that I'm a little bit, Jamie, I'm probably a little bit more optimistic as far as the future of the white cause in the United States is concerned. Having said this, I think we have to work hard on a better structure, and I keep repeating that we also have to provide a cultural veneer on our nationalism, and not just this racial thing, which is often vague, and often it can lend itself to different meanings and different interpretations, and of course also different abuses as well. So I keep repeating that the white nationalism for me is not just, white biceps, or for that matter, white muscles and 7 feet or 6 foot tall, or 6 foot height or whatever. It's more than that. It's cultural awareness, and I like to add to put some weight on this expression, cultural awareness. And again, we could go and talk for an hour now just about the white cultural awareness and white cultural heritage in the United States of America, starting with the Southern agrarians, starting with you name it. There are there's a huge arsenal from which we can tap in.
Yes, and this makes it all the more remarkable that our cause has made as little progress as we have. It's as if there's a pent-up, stored-up potential within our, like a storm cloud that's ready to break. There's just a huge amount of electrical charge in our cause that, naturally should have progressed much farther than it has. And what you're talking about, our cultural heritage, it's just a gold mine. It's just a treasure trove of Beethoven, of Galileo, of Shakespeare, of all these, Dostoevsky, these great minds, this great history, this great white achievement that we can be so proud of having attained. It's unparalleled in the history of Earth. Nothing like European achievement. And of course, we should talk about it much more than we do. We should, part of our cause, in addition to the political work we do, is the cultural work you're talking about, and regaining the heights of culture in all of our arts.
Absolutely.
If you could, Tom, tell the folks a little bit about your writing and things that they can read that you have written.
Wow. That's a good question. Well, I guess I don't want to sound too pathetic, or how can I say, too obnoxious, and give the impression to folks, to our listeners, that I'm boasting with too many things at once. Well, let me tell you first, my book now in French is coming out. It's a collection of essays. It's the second book or third book in the French I got now, and it's coming in the edition of Avatar. It's a publishing house, Avatar. They already published my book in French. The last one was on Homo Americanus, which was a translation of the English one. And I got this collection of essays that I've written over the last couple of years for different French journals, more or less nationalists, like Rivarol. Then I got a couple of speeches as well, and then also for some identitarian, Réfléchir et Agir. Also, I got a couple of essays. So these are actually a collection of my essays that I've published in French over the last 6-7 years. And the book should be out, I guess, within a couple of months. I always have problems with the editors and those technical things and the formatting and so on. Now, as far as...
Tell the folks, you went by Homo Americanus quickly there. Spell out for folks the title of your English title, and tell them how they can get that book.
Sure. It's Homo le déchet de l'ère postmoderne. Homo Americanus, the child of the postmodern age. The book is available. Well, folks, you can just type my name, and you can definitely download the title, and how you can, of course, the publishing house, and you can also get it in French and in English. If not, feel free to talk to me and to send me a line. Drop me a line at tom.sunic@gmail.com. And I'll be happy, folks, to be of any assistance, any whatsoever. And so this is the first book in French. I don't know where I got to start, where I got to resume, Jamie. There are quite a few books.
Well, hold the thought right there, Tom. We'll be back after this break with Dr. Tom Sunic.
The ideology powering the Democrats and Republicans is not liberalism or conservatism, but globalism. Globalists care only about the American imperial empire, not what's fair for the American people. The only antidote to the poison of globalism is nationalism, which is why you should be reading the Nationalist Times each month. The Nationalist Times is unabashedly pro-American in its outlook. We promote a common sense, intelligent, and passionate alternative to the reigning cultural Marxist party line. Published since 1985, the Nationalist Times is a newspaper which features outstanding writers who don't believe in taboos or sacred cows. Subscribe now to the Nationalist Times, America's best patriotic newspaper, for just $19 for 1 year. That's less than 1/3 the regular subscription price. Subscribe to the Nationalist Times for 1 year for only $19 by sending your subscription to the Nationalist Times, 10161 Park Run Drive, Suite 150, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89145. That's the Nationalist Times, 10161 Park Run Drive, Suite 150, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89145. This limited time offer is for new subscribers only.
How did a country founded on freedom and limited government end up with the largest, most intrusive government in world history? The process has been ongoing for a long time, and it won't change as long as the Democrat and Republican parties continue to dominate the political system in the United States. It's time to face some unpleasant facts. Americans used to say, it can't happen here. Well, it can, and it has. America has become unrecognizable. We are living in a dark era where not only freedom is under direct attack, but even truth. The institutions of power and control have essentially merged into one giant organism, one that does not trust or believe in the American people. It's time to break up the Democrat-Republican death grip on power and return America to Americans. It's time to regain our freedom by supporting the American Freedom Party. The American Freedom Party represents the American people and will return our nation to greatness. You can be part of the solution by joining the American Freedom Party for just $25. Send your $25 membership to the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Again, that's the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117.
What's the best source of information on the internet? ANUnews.net. ANUnews.net is regularly updated with the best cross-section of news and views you need to fully understand what's going on in the world and why. ANUnews.net finds the most informative and provocative articles to be found on the internet for you to read. ANUnews.net is your online daily newspaper, an important weapon in the battle to arm Americans with the information they need to defeat the one-worlders and cultural Marxists. Make ANUnews.net a regular part of your internet experience. You'll be glad you did by visiting ANUnews.net.
A to Z Publications is your one-stop source for books written by Dr. Adrian H. Krieg. Dr. Krieg is a Renaissance man whose knowledge of the issues of the day and the needed solutions is unsurpassed. Dr. Krieg has written 13 books. Titles such as Rendezvous with the New World Order, Obama's Nightmare Plan, Oz and the New Millennium, and others are available online from A to Z Publications. Go to A to Z Publications and order today. That's the letter A, the number 2, the letter Z, publications.com. Or write A to Z Publications, Post Office Box 110163, Bradenton, Florida, 34211.
Welcome back to the show, folks. This is your host, James Kelso, with the American Freedom Party Report. And speaking of Renaissance men, all of the guests on this program have been Renaissance men. Don Wassel, Adrian Krieg, Kevin McDonald, Merlin Miller, and now Dr. Tom Sunic. And let me add for you a detail. You may not know that. Of course you don't know this. Tom is talking to us live from Zagreb, Croatia, which is his native home. But Tom is also one of us. He is an American citizen and incredibly knowledgeable about America, having traveled all over the United States, having gotten his PhD here in the United States, and lived here extensively. So and as you can tell already from listening to Tom, with all that French that you heard, I understand it, Tom. I used to live in France myself, but the book you want to read is his Homo Americanus book in English. And you can just look up Tom. Tom gave you his email address, tom.sunic@gmail.com. And you spell Sunic, S-U-N-I-C. tom.sunic@gmail.com. Tom, I want to let the folks know that what you and I are part of, the American Freedom Party, is the best political effort today to retake America, for you folks to restore the nation that your ancestors left you. And we want you to get involved. We're a new political party, which would explain why, if you haven't heard about us, why you haven't heard about us. We're fairly new. Merlin Miller was our first presidential candidate in 2012. You've heard him on this microphone. And we have for you, we've made available the opportunity to join the American Freedom Party for only $25 a year as your initial dues as a member of our party. And we certainly encourage you to do that. Go to our website, please. I know I'm giving you a lot of information, but if you've got a pencil handy, it's just the name of our party, the AmericanFreedomParty.us. You can remember it that way, the AmericanFreedomParty.us, as in it's about us. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm the membership coordinator myself. That's one of my jobs in the American Freedom Party. So you can call me directly. Let me give you a phone number while your pencil's still handy. It's 701-317-5317. That's my phone number. And I forgot to turn my phone off, so I hope you don't call me right now. But you can call me anytime to, there we go, turn that thing off. You can call me anytime with questions that you want answered about the American Freedom Party, anything that we're doing, any question at all. We're here to answer your questions. Dr. Sunic, you've talked about would you tell the folks a little bit about your view of the importance of organizing politically, in addition to the educational, the informational work that we do? Why is it important to have a political face, a political organization? How does that change our status in the eyes of our kinsmen?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm proud to be able to serve as a board member of the American Freedom Party, and that two reasons, Jamie, why I'm a member of it in the first place. First, it's a matter of character, and I must admit, and I guess I just don't want to make too many laudatory statements about our colleagues and our friends from the American Freedom Party, but I guess that I always put the character on the first place. We get really good people that I know very well, like Kevin and Mr. Miller, then Bill and Don, yourself, and I've known those folks. I've known you for quite some time. There's a certain amount of modesty and a certain amount of diligence that I certainly appreciate among all of us and all of you. And secondly, yes, folks, I myself, I've always been suspicious of any party adherence or party membership, and all my life, I guess, I've been a big individualist, and I'm not very fond of gregarious type of behavior, be they the Republicans or Democrats, or you call them whichever way you like. But I guess at this stage of our recent history, it's very important to have a platform, a political platform where you can formulate your thoughts, where you can actually even host your speakers. And I certainly would encourage, especially your younger audience, Jamie, to contact us, to contact me in person and check me out and see some of my prose, some of my writings, and also some of our programs, specifically American Freedom Party programs. The only thing where I may add, the only thing which certainly needs to be enhanced a little bit more, improved, is our physical presence, our physical visibility. And I would definitely encourage our board members, including myself, and I will say something about that in a minute. I would certainly encourage them not just to interact on a vicarious level, if I can put it that way, on a computer level, but also physically meet each other, have a coffee with each other, and talk about some cultural efforts, speaking efforts, some social activities as well, some community work as well, folks. And
right.
There's one thing, Jamie, which I think is quite important. I will be also shortly. I will be in the States. Hopefully I will be meeting you. We have a conference, and I guess we can talk about this in the second segment of our show. Because I myself, go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me just mention for the folks. You've talked about the board. Let me mention for the folks, some of the folks, actually all of the folks that are on the board of directors of the American Freedom Party, and these will be future guests on this program. In addition to those you've already heard on this microphone, we have our chairman, William Daniel Johnson. And we'll talk about him in just a moment after this break. We'll come back with more of the American Freedom Party Report.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Because you can handle the truth.
Are you or someone you know suffering from high blood pressure, cholesterol, or chest pains? Are you looking for a more natural way to overcome these health challenges? Extendivite is made from herbs known to help with these symptoms. Made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, and 4 other herbs, Extendivite goes to work detoxifying heavy metals and killing fungus and virus to enhance your overall health. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself from anything out of balance concerning cardiovascular or diabetic circulation problems, then this might be the most important ad you'll ever hear. It is possible to acquire a 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation, which works. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. For a long and healthy life, order today by calling 866-295-5305. 866-295-5305. A healthy heart is a happy heart. Order online at heartandbody.com. That's heartandbody.com.
Welcome back, folks. Our guest tonight is Dr. Tom Sunic here on the American Freedom Party Report. And I was just giving you a list before the break of people you'll be hearing on this show in the future and members of the board of directors. I mentioned our chairman, Bill Johnson, William Daniel Johnson. Another member is Bob Whitaker, known very well to many of you. An extraordinary figure in American politics and in our cause. James Edwards, a famous radio host. Also, many of you know James. He'll be here. Harry Bertram, a political activist in West Virginia, who has run for office many times and really taught people how to do that. Another attorney. We have 3 attorneys on our board. Alex Carmichael in New Jersey. And an extraordinary activist also, Dr. Virginia Abernethy, a professor of anthropology and psychiatry at the Vanderbilt School of Medicine in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think I've listed everybody there. This show goes all too quickly, as does our opportunity to save our people. So it's time for you to join the best political effort we have had to date, and that is the American Freedom Party. There are some other good third-party efforts, but they don't directly address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is our racial displacement by other peoples who are by the tens of millions invading our lands. And this is not just happening in America, folks. It's an astonishing thing. Any of you who have entertained the fantasy that you can always escape to Europe or you can always escape to Canada or Australia because those countries aren't being invaded and overwhelmed by the hundreds of millions of third worlders. Well, I'm sorry to inform you, you're dreaming. There is not a single European nation in the world, not one, that is not the subject of enormous invasion. Ireland is not safe from it. Sweden is not safe from it. Russia is not safe from it. Australia is being overwhelmed. Canada has a rate of non-white immigration that's greater than ours in America. I know that sounds amazing and incredible. I'm coming to you live from North Dakota. I'm just a few miles from the Canadian border. When I was younger, I always thought Canada was a place, you could always go to the Great White North. Well, forget about it. The problems in Canada, as Paul Fromm, who is one of our great advisors to our party, the American Freedom Party, Paul Fromm will describe on this microphone in a future show how bad the situation is in Canada. We need to get active politically. And we will be taken more seriously by our people if we have a political effort in addition to our intellectual and informational efforts. Tom, we've got a caller. We've got a few minutes here and a chance to take a call.
Sure.
Dave in Sacramento, are you still there?
I'm here.
Hi. Fire away with your questions, Dave.
Yes, I'd like to ask the doctor about what he characterizes as nationalism. I stress the term sovereignty. The United States is offshoring our jobs. We're importing much of our raw materials. Our political structure is not based on a sovereign country, rather as a globalist political structure. How does the doctor feel about that particular aspect of our lack of national security and sovereignty?
Thank you, Dave, and all the best to my fellow in Sacramento. I live there, so I like Sacramento, and I hopefully one of these days we'll meet up. Look, let me first define real briefly. There is a significant difference in the usage of terms, nationalism in the United States of America and in Europe. When you talk about European nationalism, it's like an oxymoron. There are different nationalism in plural, like a Serbian nationalism, you've got the Belgian nationalism, you've got the Flemish nationalism, and what have you. So in nationalism in the United States of America is more of a generic expression. At this stage, particularly, and correct me if I'm wrong, it covers all white nationalism in general, although I'm not ruling out that there might also be some black nationalists. Of course, in both ways, nationalism has a somewhat pejorative meaning, unfortunately. We are the ones who have to actually improve this meaning a little bit. Now, in terms of sovereignty, I got to tell you, Dave, it's more or less the same thing. The companies here in the States, here in Croatia, you name it, or in France, they're offshoring their production to third world countries. You go to any store here in Croatia, for that matter, in France or in nearby Austria, which is like 2 hours from where I live. Most of the produces, most of the products, or most of the commodities you purchase there are either made in China or in India. Most of the clothing I wear here are made in Pakistan or in Thailand. And I guess in terms of sovereignty, yes, this is a good point. There's a great deal of discussion now also on the academic level dealing with this phenomenon of the loss of sovereignty. Unfortunately, in this globalized world of ours, sovereignty has become a very rare species. Now, just before I continue, let me just back up a little bit, and I fully agree with what Jamie said a while ago. But what we are dealing with when we're talking about this influx of third worlders, first and foremost, before attacking them or defaming them or criticizing them, which is all fine with me, but we got to watch our tongues sometimes. The main culprit is big business and big capitalism. So this is our main enemies. In fact, let me just reverse the roles. When we are dealing with third world immigration, they are just the pawns of this global game. The big gamer, the big culprit is global capitalism, big financial capitalism. They're the ones who import this cheap labor, and by default, the prices and for that matter, the wages go down in the United States of America, or for that matter, in nearby Germany, because the more cheap labor, the cheaper the labor is becoming, the foreign imported labor is becoming in Germany, or for that matter in France. We got 35 million people of foreign ancestry, of non-European ancestry here living in Europe. Of course, this reflects itself automatically on the wages of autochthonous or white workers. So I guess this is the topic we got to tackle very seriously before we deal with the consequences of multiculturalism, or let's put it explicitly, multiracialism. I hope, David, I'm answering your question correctly. If not, I can always develop that on a little bit more. I've written extensively about this, about third world immigration. Just recently, just a couple of months ago, there was a large article I translated from Alain de Benoit on hourglass capitalism. Just type hourglass capitalism. It's posted on the Alternative Right. I translated it from French into English. It's a rather scholarly piece dealing with offshoring and how, in fact, that third world immigration is basically the logical offshoot of this wild capitalism that we all have, that we're dealing with.
Hey, Dave, could I throw a thought in there too as a way to answer your question somewhat?
Okay.
The tremendous opportunity and need, the crying need for the American Freedom Party, partially comes from the utter sellout of the Republican Party to blind capitalism, to worship of the dollar. And you'll recall, you sound old enough to remember Milton and Rose Friedman. And what was the title of their book? Something about capitalism. But these so-called free enterprise economists basically took over the thinking of the Republican Party, which became really a mouthpiece for global corporations. And the thing that global corporations are chasing is sort of an amoral, as much as an immoral thing. They're just chasing money. And this is very contradictory to the interests of what real patriots deal in. The root of the word patria or nation, natio, is birth and fatherland. We're pursuing the interests of our people. As it says in our Constitution and Declaration of Independence, we're trying to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We're not chasing a buck. We want the blessings of liberty for our people, our European people. And this is what the Republican Party has is given up on. And now with this latest clown, Eric Cantor, who is now the Republican majority leader in the House, Eric Cantor is out there loudly touting amnesty for third worlders entering America. This is the sort of the demise of the Republican Party. And shockingly, those of us who participated in the Ron Paul Revolution, Ron's son Rand appears to have signed on with amnesty. This is what an abdication. And somebody has to step into the breach and offer the American people a resistance based on the well-being and the health of our people, not of companies, and a pursuit of the long term. That means hundreds of generations, forever, the pursuit of the interests of our people. Does that somewhat answer your sovereignty question, Dave?
Well, yes, on one aspect, but I'm talking about the United States within the American borders. We have everything we need, including our energy needs and our manufacturing capabilities, our technology, and especially the sovereignty of our political structure. There's too much emphasis on the United States becoming an international player, such as a UN force or with respect to Israel, directing our U.S. Foreign policy in the Middle East, that type of sovereignty. We shouldn't even be in the Middle East. We shouldn't worry about what happens with the Muslim countries. We have everything in the United States we need to completely divorce ourselves from that region for our energy needs.
Well, Dave, did you hear on this microphone, did you hear our presidential candidate Merlin Miller speak a few weeks ago?
No, I did not.
If you get a chance to listen to that archive show, Merlin Miller is West Point class of 74. And his friends and classmates include 30 current generals in the U.S. Army. And he could not agree with you more. And this is one of the refreshing things happening in the American Freedom Party. We've actually got somebody at this level, Merlin Miller, whose friends include, his classmates include Keith Alexander, who's the current head of the NSA, Martin Dempsey, the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and David Petraeus, who just lost his head of the CIA job. These were classmates of Merlin Miller, and Merlin Miller agrees with you. We don't belong in all of these worldwide adventures as the cop of the world. We need to defend America, defend our borders. We need the 10th Mountain Division, not in Afghanistan. We need them on the Rio Grande.
Agreed.
And so you're really going to enjoy reading. Merlin's got a book out called Our Vision for America. And you can get a copy of that by going on our website. Let me give that to the folks again. It's use the article there, theamericanfreedomparty.us. And there you'll find out several things I urge you to do. One, buy Merlin Miller's book. It's inexpensive. It's about $10. And we'll ship that right off to you. You can join the party. Also quite inexpensive, $25 for your first year's dues. And of course, then you can sign up. You can leave your email address to get information from the party. You can sign up for our mailings. You can also subscribe to our newspaper, which is the Nationalist Times. And an ad for that appears on this show. And I urge you to do those things.
Okay.
And then listen. Yeah, thanks, Dave. And then listen to this program. I'll have as guests, I'm on every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time with one very short live hour. And I talk fast because these people I have on are such extraordinary minds. I want to talk fast and get out of the way while these amazing Renaissance men and women, Virginia Abernethy's on our board, talk to you about this best effort to do a political pushback. And we intend to be on the ballot in your state, wherever you are, all 50 states. Merlin thinks we can do this soon, by 2016. And you are going to be the pioneers. You are the Davy Crockett's and the Daniel Boones out there who are going to get on your horse and ride from Tennessee to the Alamo because it's the right thing to do. Not because it's easy. It's the right thing to do. We need you now, just as they needed Davy Crockett at the Alamo. Dave, have you got another question?
No, I think you've covered all the subjects. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to have you in our audience. It's a brand new show. How did you find out about our show?
Well, I had I picked a website, Spangiola, something like that.
Mm-hmm. She's another host here on RBN, yes.
Uh-huh. And I listened to one of those shows, and I noticed that I believe you're linked on that website.
Well,
so
thank you.
And it sounds very interesting. And I that's what my interest is in this, whatever this movement is the fact that the United States needs to get out of the world theater and become a more sovereign nation. And that's my emphasis.
Well, the first guy that suggested that idea was named George Washington. And that's what we do. We don't need the entangling alliances, and we need to engage in friendly trade with the nations and not engage in warfare all over the world.
Absolutely. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Well, we've got another caller here. Let me go to Richard in Alabama.
I'm a former subscriber to the Nationalist Times. And several years ago, they stopped publication, and my subscription went nowhere.
Okay, Richard, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if you leave your phone number with the producer, I'm going to call you back. And I don't know what happened to your subscription. The Nationalist Times has actually been in continuous publication since 1985. That's 26 years? Yeah. Continuously. And it's now in issue number 300 and maybe 304, but it's an extraordinary record of the publisher, Don Wassell, the editor. And so the Nationalist Times has always been in publication. I don't know what went wrong. It never ceased publication and never missed an issue. So I will make sure, I'm going to do several things. I want to contact you. I will send you for free. I have a bunch of the back issues of the Nationalist Times. I will send them to you free. If you just give your phone number to the producer when we get off here, or when your call gets off, and then I will call you. Is that okay with you, Richard?
Yeah. Well, let me suggest.
Oh, and Richard, as a backup, let me give you my phone number too. You can always call me.
Wait. Okay, what is it?
It's 701 317 5317.
5317.
And if you call me, I'll be sticking Nationalist Times into a priority mail envelope while we're talking.
All right.
And it's only gotten better. When was the last time you read the Nationalist Times?
Oh, about 2 years ago.
Okay, come on back, folks, after this break, and we'll have the end of our show. It goes all too quickly.
What will you do without freedom? That's the question the American Freedom Party is asking as a high-tech surveillance state continues to be constructed in the one-time land of liberty. Through methodical gradualism over many years, the United States has been hollowed out economically and morally. The Republican Party is little more than a partner in crime to the open globalism and cultural Marxism of the Democrats. Both parties support the offshoring of American industry and jobs, open borders, endless wars of aggression all over the world, and slavish obedience to Israel and to the banksters and gangsters of Wall Street. The American Freedom Party is guided by the sole principle of supporting what's good for America and Americans. The American Freedom Party rejects the archaic liberal conservative paradigm in favor of an outspoken advocacy of freedom and liberty that rings true to America's traditional values and way of life. The hour is late, but America can yet survive and begin to thrive again if enough Americans act to regain their freedom. The alternative is too bleak to contemplate. Learn more about the American Freedom Party and join us by going to theamericanfreedomparty.us. That's theamericanfreedomparty.us.
How did a country founded on freedom and limited government end up with the largest, most intrusive government in world history? The process has been ongoing for a long time, and it won't change as long as the Democrat and Republican parties continue to dominate the political system in the United States. It's time to face some unpleasant facts. Americans used to say, it can't happen here. Well, it can, and it has. America has become unrecognizable. We are living in a dark era where not only freedom is under direct attack, but even truth. The institutions of power and control have essentially merged into one giant organism, one that does not trust or believe in the American people. It's time to break up the Democrat-Republican death grip on power and return America to Americans. It's time to regain our freedom by supporting the American Freedom Party. The American Freedom Party represents the American people and will return our nation to greatness. You can be part of the solution by joining the American Freedom Party for just $25. Send your $25 membership to the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Again, that's the American Freedom Party, 9811 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 2-441, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117.
The ideology powering the Democrats and Republicans is not liberalism or conservatism, but globalism. Globalists care only about the American imperial empire, not what's fair for the American people. The only antidote to the poison of globalism is nationalism, which is why you should be reading the Nationalist Times each month. The Nationalist Times is unabashedly pro-American in its outlook. We promote a common sense, intelligent, and passionate alternative to the reigning cultural Marxist party line. Published since 1985, the Nationalist Times is a newspaper which features outstanding writers who don't believe in taboos or sacred cows. Subscribe now to the Nationalist Times, America's best patriotic newspaper, for just $19 for 1 year. That's less than 1/3 the regular subscription price. Subscribe to the Nationalist Times for 1 year for only $19 by sending your subscription to the Nationalist Times, 10161 Park Run Drive, Suite 150, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89145. That's the Nationalist Times, 10161 Park Run Drive, Suite 150, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89145. This limited time offer is for new subscribers only.
Welcome back to this microphone, folks. This is James Kelso with the American Freedom Party Report. My guest tonight is Dr. Tom Sunic, member of the Board of Directors of the American Freedom Party, a worldwide respected author, one of the greatest speakers in our people's cause that we've ever produced in multiple languages. And Tom, it's been a real honor to have you on the show tonight. We only have about 5 minutes left.
Sure.
I'm going to take one more call from Rob in New York. It's going to have to be very short. Rob, can you hear us?
Hello, Dr. Sunic. I just wanted to ask at the recent AMRAN conference, Richard Spencer talked about the need for an ethno state for white Americans. What do you think?
Well, I certainly would encourage the project, and the gentleman just before he said, the caller said that we should disengage from all those murky alliances from all parts of the world, and I guess America has a great potential of establishing an ethno state, and I guess there's, as I said, there's something unique which I certainly admire about the United States of America. Now, literally from Alaska to Alabama, you got 200 million white people of European ancestry, of European origin, and all what they need to do is just to get together and just revive and resuscitate their cultural consciousness, their racial consciousness, and of course choose the right political leaders. That's the problem, We've all been disappointed with, Jamie just said a while ago, with something about this, the young Junior Rand, what he said, something about the general amnesty. This is like lunacy, I guess. I don't know, sometimes you wonder what's going on in this country. So basically we have to pick and choose the right leaders in the United States of America, and first and foremost the people of character, and of course who are aware of where the country is headed. And I'm sure the miracles can be produced. They were produced during the American Revolution, and who says they cannot be done again? So again, I would suggest to you on a private level, on a personal level, drop me a line, and I'd be happy if I can be of any assistance. And by the by, I will be in New York. I will be stateside end of June, and I'll have a couple of speeches and lectures there. And I will be headed on the 1st of July, 2nd of July, I'll be headed for California. And I'll also have a couple of meetings with our folks. And you are more than welcome, Rob, to join me in New York. And again, for all our listeners, folks, I can get a hold of on tom.sunic@gmail.com, or you can look at my website, tomsunic.com. And you are more than welcome to write to me in case I can be of any assistance.
Thanks. And, folks, we give out a lot of complicated addresses and so on. So we want to make it simple for you. When you grab your pencils, you can write my phone number down, 701-317-5317. Or you can go to our website, theamericanfreedomparty.us, and everything you need to know, all the addresses you need are there. In our last minutes here, Tom, we're talking about the question there about the ethno-state. One of the things that's true about America is that we have space, and we have the room here to do some extraordinary things. Europe is very crowded, so the opportunities are limited there in Europe. The time has run all too fast. Tom, thank you for being here. We look forward to you coming back on these microphones again. Folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the American Freedom Party Report.